Moldova was officially granted EU candidate status in 2022. Many saw this as an opportunity for that country to shore up its defences after Russia launched a full-scale invasion of its northeastern neighbour, Ukraine, that same year. My name is Angela Skujins. This is TVP World, and I'm joined here in Brussels by the Moldovan Ambassador to the EU, Daniela Morari, who's here to explain how this EU accession progress is tracking. Hello, Ambassador.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for joining us. So how would you say that this progress for Chișinău is tracking for it to join the EU?
We're advancing at a very speedy pace. It's a lot of hard work from all line institutions. We just finished the bilateral screening, which is a phase when we go to the Commission, we explain from all the standards, from all the legislation that is required, that was explained to us in the stage of exploratory screening. We did, as you know, everything is grouped into clusters. We did cluster 1, which is fundamentals. We did cluster 2, which is internal market. We did cluster 6, which is external relations. We did cluster 3, competitiveness. And we almost finalized cluster 4 and cluster 5. We have 4 remaining chapters to finish mid-September. And it's a lot of work from our line institutions. We have from 20 to 100 people a week here in Brussels. And we go piece by piece, legislation by legislation. And we're pretty satisfied of how our teams are presenting themselves. We have a very good feedback. But of course, the list of homework ahead of us, it's pretty huge.
Is there a timeline for when you expect that Moldova could join the EU?
We have our internal deadline, which was also set by our president and our government, which is 2030 to join. So everything we do internally is to get us prepared and ready for this.
According to the European Commission, that's the EU executive, their latest report into the status of Moldova joining the EU, they highlighted strengths and weaknesses, one of the strengths being democracy. That seems to be a key win for Moldova. However, it identified some issues such as prosecuting high-profile corruption cases as well as transparency, particularly in the parliament. What is the administration led by the President of Moldova, Maia Sandu, doing to address these issues?
As we all know, fundamental cluster is one of the key, and it's not in vain that is the first that you start with and it's the last that you close. So it has a very important reforms at the core, and we also will learn from all the countries that pass through this how important it is. And this is also why the justice sector reform, it's at the core of what we do internally, and this is why we insisted, and it's a huge amount of work on doing the vetting of prosecutors and judges. We already passed pretty successfully, but it was with a lot of resistance, a lot of effort, a lot of mediation. The bodies that govern the judges and the prosecutors, Superior Council of Magistrates, Superior Council of Prosecutors, and now we also do the upper courts, the Superior Court of Justice, and of course it follows to the next ones. So I would say we are in the middle of the reform process. It's clear for everyone that this is going to happen. Now it's also how to learn from the process, because we really been doing it at the core, a very genuine exercise, and it's how to have everyone on board and to make sure that it's also a smooth process. It's not delaying or slowing down the cases. And of course it's a lot of reforms and ways how to improve the prosecution and the fighting against corruption. All these reforms are not the ones that coming from the EU. Even the vetting is the one that we've been asking for it at the first place, and then it came also as a step within the candidate status, opinion of the Commission, and all the other documents and processes we have with the EU.
I see the report also mentioned some external factors that could be impinging on this progress, but also strengths. It mentions the fact that Moldova accommodates a significant amount of Ukrainian refugees. It's battling what is claimed to be an energy crisis in the separatist Transnistria region, among other issues. So do these external factors impinge on the government's ability to do reforms? I'm also thinking of those hybrid threats as well.
Of course, when you have a multitude of crises in parallel, it's a challenge for a small administration. But also, when we look backwards, it's also incredible how many crises we managed and to also go smooth through them. Indeed, Ukraine is fighting a full-fledged war in the field, and Moldova is fighting a hybrid war. We've been already through a lot. We've been through protests, we've been through kinetic acts, through hybrid actions, cyberattacks, illegal cash coming from different forms, fake bomb alerts, priests involved into pellerinages, like in very different forms. The last being when we had referendum and presidential elections last year. It was one of the peak, diverse forms of the hybrid actions and threats were addressed towards us. And we also have many lessons learned from those moments. And also it's not any day or moment when it stops. It's just transforming and adjusting in different forms. Energy weaponization was another. And as you know, we have parliamentary elections in this fall. So it's a lot happening in the background for those. This is why we're also asking for different instruments and tools how to strengthen our resilience, our reaction, and our institutions to prevent and also to be able to combat disinformation, cyber, hybrid actions. And we are also trying to work with different other countries and partners to share from all this experience that we gathered.
Are you expecting particularly more incidents of hybrid threats in the lead up to the September parliamentary election?
It's very difficult to forecast and to predict, but also looking backward from what we've been through already. And also, as you recall, we had a very strong language in the parliamentary resolution for the foreign interference and destabilization of democratic processes. And it was more as looking as a line of what could in a way happen, and now looking backwards, how right in a way unfortunate we were, and some things even were more profound and more deep. It took us also some time to digest all that. So now we're also trying to look what all this could generate in the different forms and ways, and also to have all the necessary instruments, awareness, reaction to be well and prepared.
Ukraine is another EU accession candidate country, long been trying to join the 27-member strong club, but that country has been rocked in recent days over Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signing a bill on Tuesday that critics have argued could weaken the country's ability to handle and prosecute anti-corruption cases. Are there any lessons that Moldova has learnt from this?
I think it's difficult to do a parallel, but I think for every country that goes through the process of accession, they know how important are all the elements of the fundamental cluster. So these are the lessons also from the countries that joined, countries from the Western Balkans that are in the process, and it's also for us. So we understand how important this it is, how under surveillance all these reforms inside the countries are in the monitoring at the Commission level and member states. So we have this awareness and understanding how important these reforms are for us as a country, because we know without not advancing on that, it's very difficult to advance in any other sector, being trade, economy, or any other, and attracting investors, but also as conditionalities to join and to advance on our accession path.
I've highlighted some challenges perhaps in that report published by the European Commission, but what do you think is the largest obstacle for Moldova joining the European Union? It's my understanding that Hungary, which is the biggest antagonist against Ukraine joining the EU, hasn't vetoed Moldova's accession bid. Is that correct? And what are the other challenges?
We're very grateful for all the support of the member states, and that is highlighted in the last European Council conclusions that confirms the Commission that we did all the conditionality that are required to open the Cluster 1, and also European Council calls to the Council to do all the necessary steps for this to happen. So we hope to count and to continue to have this support in the future. The challenges are very different because the amount of work, it's difficult even to pronounce in words how big it is. And there are different clusters of type of challenges. There are challenges that is just a lot. For example, for agriculture, we have more than 3,000 pieces of legislation that we need to go through now in the screening for the bilateral, for the chapter for the agriculture. And it's just for small administration and team to go through all this. We have challenges where it's just expensive, and we need to take all these commitments and to prioritize from our own resources and from all the help we're receiving. Like environment is a very expensive chapter, and we also need to see in which way and where to do this. We also have areas where it's just too many institutions involved, and it's the coordination that we need to do inside. And of course, you know, when it's a few institutions involved, this also requires a lot of effort inside. Also, there are others which requires political will and also to follow with that. But again, looking backwards, it's really incredible how much we managed to advance on all this, on very difficult areas like also on energy. We managed to do unprecedented reforms, also being pushed by the crisis that we had to handle, and to completely become independent on energy from the gas point of view initially, and gradually also on electricity. All the projects that we're doing with EU, also the renewables, we just managed to do a considerable jump now in a very short time, just to compare with any other country, to have 36% of our share to being from renewables. In a very, very short time. We learned in one night how to buy from the EU market and how to join also to the continental grid, to do the decoupling, unbundling of the energetic, in a way, system. Like energy efficiency, it's so much that we managed to do in a short time, and this gives a lot of motivation and ownership, and also trying to see how we can this experience multiply or learn to other sectors. Transport is also one sector that we managed to do a lot in terms of TNT connectivity, even applying to the Connecting European Facility projects, winning some, being involved into the EU in different, in a way, formats. Also doing our own investments. So, but when to look on what we have still ahead of us, it's still a lot, and we still need to have a lot of guidance, a lot of expertise, and financial support in order to manage to do all this. It's a lot of political will and a lot of commitment and hard work from the teams.
Absolutely, and what I'm hearing from my own sources, you know, big proponents of the European Union Peace Project, is that it is sometimes clunky for a country to join the 27-member strong bloc. But unfortunately, this is all the time that we have for today, Ambassador. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you to you.
And thank you so much for watching, but make sure that you stick around on TVP World as more news, commentary and analysis is coming up. My name is Angela Skujins. See you next time.